Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show.
Hello. Good day.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Goodness.
Good evening.
Oh, nice one.
I messed it up.
You messed
now
it
you can't do the
all
Loch
up.
Ness.
Well, I get to say it. Loch Ness.
Roast bananas. That's the Loch Ness monster from Terror of the Zygons. There does literally say roast bananas.
Roast bananas.
Over the hill in that fourth Doctor Tom Baker Doctor Who episode. So the Benji and Nick Show. We talk about cult television, don't we, Benji?
We do, yes. It's our special subject, isn't it?
And your special subject is
Cult television.
not household items left in the drawer.
Toilet roll holders. Packets of string. Well, if you don't know who we are individually, my name is Benji, and this chap over here is Mr. Nicholas Briggs.
That much has become obvious.
Some things in life are best left unexplained, such as our identities.
So we will be discussing this week Box of Delights,
Ooh,
as many of our listeners have wanted us to. The 1984 BBC children's drama based on the book of the same name by an author whose name escapes me. That's how well researched this podcast is. But yes, a lot of people are saying we should be discussing Box of Delights.
John Masefield.
It was a really big thing back in 1984. Stars Robert Stevens and Patrick Troughton. Patrick Troughton, fantastic film. Anyway, I shan't preempt our comments about it. We also read out some of your emails. There's some Facebook comments we'll be talking about. And we talk straight away. Actually, I should mention that if you want to email us, it's podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. But first of all, we talk about what we've been watching this week. Benji.
So I've been watching this week. I finished The Good Place. Just that's like the running theme. I finished The Good Place.
2 series of it.
Yeah, 3 series of it. Finished the whole lot. Yeah, they're good because they're only 20 minutes long, so you can just have one quickly in the morning. Have to say, very good. Left wanting more. Didn't expect.
Did it have a cliffhanger?
It always.
Did The Good Place explode?
It always has a cliffhanger. It really does have a good cliffhanger in the end. Yeah. So feel very happy to be. That I've seen it. Now I've got to think of my next venture. As well as that, watched a bit more Bonanza, watched some Western I can't remember the name of, some film on Netflix. What's it called? Let me find out.
I hope it's not called Bone Tomahawk, which is the most horrible film ever made.
Bone Tomahawk.
Don't ever watch it.
Somehow I don't think I'll be watching that one. It's called The Lonely Man with Jack Palance and Anthony Perkins.
Oh my goodness. I think you'll find it's pronounced Jack Palance is how he used to say his name.
Oh, there we go. Sorry,
There's
Jack.
a fantastic outtake of him, I think it's on YouTube or something, with him really losing it in a voiceover session.
Really? Why? Because
with the director. Because he was a really fierce old actor. And he says to her, I think... He says, "Lady, I don't even know who you are."
Oh my God. It's funny, these actors, some of these sort of that generation, they could be truly fierce, couldn't they?
Yeah. There's a great one with William Shatner as well, actually.
Oh, good old William Shatner.
Is it him or is that? Oh no, he does. I think he's the one who says, "Don't say that. It sickens me."
Oh my God. But I love the way only William Shatner can say something that sounds so like that. Like nobody else would be able to say it, but he just is Captain Kirk, isn't he? That's just.
I think it's when he was recording the lines for Captain Kirk for the cartoon series, because they all recorded them separately.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so that's the sum total of your watchings this week?
Well, pretty much. It's funny though, you're talking about Captain Kirk. It wasn't actually this week, but the week before. I got in a sale this ancient computer game, which I used to have ages ago, which is the old Star Trek games. Star Trek the 25th anniversary, made in, goodness, must have been the early 90s.
Goodness, what a long time ago that was for a youngster such as yourself.
1992, so I was a year old, I believe. But it's. I have to say, it's really good because it's all the parts, all the characters in it are voiced by the original actors. So you've got Kirk, Spock, and Bones in there.
Wow!
But it's really good. Like it's all just like problem solving and that. But and it's fiercely difficult. It's really hard. But I have to say, there's an awful lot to be said for just spending a sort of very old school evening on the bridge with Captain Kirk, Spock, and Bones fighting. Has
it got good graphics or anything?
By modern standards, it's pretty grim. But in terms of the time, my God, it's amazing. I mean, it really is amazing, and it's really detailed as well. You get to use.
Is one of Captain Kirk's lines that sickens me?
I hope so. Maybe there is. I know that there's a lot of weird screaming and stuff like that.
Wow.
I've got the captions up here. Dr. McCoy, you cold-blooded, emotionless. That's all it says. I didn't read the next bit. So yeah, that's what I've been kind of up to, really.
Wow.
What about yourself, Nick? What have you been delving into?
Gosh. Well, last night I saw a programme about Fairy Tale of New York. Is that what it's called? The Christmas song by the Pogues and Kirsty MacColl?
The one that is they're trying to stop censor or something now, isn't it?
Yeah, because there are some
outdated.
Yes.
What was it they say in Talking Pictures? Outdated phrases and attitudes. Oh, I can't remember what it is now. The disclaimer.
Yes, I know.
But that.
Yes. Of course, they've stopped Public Eye. But anyway, sorry, no. There was a program all about on Talking Pictures. I'm saying there was a program all about the making of that record and all the detail of it, and they had the multi-track recording. They showed the Pro Tools thing and everything. They must have transferred it to Pro Tools because when that record was first done, Pro Tools didn't exist, did it?
Sure. Maybe in a very primitive form.
Oh, right.
I don't know. It might have been called something else actually.
And it was very moving anyway, because of course Kirsty MacColl died in that terrible accident, a boating accident, and her husband was handling the remix. You know, to be able to hear the isolated voice of his wife singing in that classic song. I really teared up when I watched that. Also, it's really interesting. Some of the parts, when he was playing some of the parts like the penny whistle and everything, he said there's people just talking in the background. You know, the guy's playing the penny whistle and you can hear the rest of them in the studio all going, blah, blah, blah. But once it's in the mix, you don't hear it. So that was really interesting. So yes, Public Eye's not on anymore, so I can't watch that.
Oh, that's tragic, isn't it?
I started to try and watch the Haunting on the Horror Hill Hill House.
Oh, the Haunting of Hill House, yeah.
Which was thoroughly recommended to me. It's on Netflix. Thoroughly recommended to me by my
couldn't get into
producer. Yeah, my producer at Radio 4 Extra, Moy McGowan, and she was just waxing lyrical about it. And I thought, well, for her sake, I will give it a go because everything about it looks rubbish to me. and I watched 10 minutes of it, and really, apparently the thing about it is that if you go back and watch it after you've seen it the first time, there are loads of ghosts in it that you don't notice.
Oh wow.
And when Moy was telling me about it, she said, and there's a man under the piano. And apparently they all just move slightly and they're in all the scenes, but you don't notice them.
God.
Yeah.
It's the type of thing, because I did that, I started watching it and turned it off after a while. But it's done so well. I think it's the one that if I watch it, I think I'm going to have to sit down and really concentrate on it. Because
people love it, and Moy loves it, so it must be good, really. I just haven't persisted for long enough.
Can't we watch the Haunted House on Horror Hill instead? Or the Horror House on Haunted Hill? That's got a load of H's in, and it stars Vincent Price, doesn't it?
Vincent Price.
He's got the head of a fly and the body of a man.
I think it's the House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price.
But that's what the Netflix thing is called as well, isn't it? No, The Haunting of Hill House, that's what it's called.
Whereas this one is The House on Haunted Hill.
Much more fun. I love the original 13 Ghosts, actually. I love that. That's so fun.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, so it was. You'll like this because it's interesting.
Oh, good.
I just realised
you'll like this because it's boring.
The absolute arrogance of that statement is you'll like it because what I'm about to say is interesting. But no, it was
usually when people say that, it's really boring.
It's really boring. No, it is actually quite interesting. But at the time, like, bear in mind, it was, when was it made? The original 13 Ghosts was made in movie. So the original film would have been made in, not the remake, which is 1960. Okay. And what makes the film really interesting is at the cinema they pioneered a new thing called Illusion O, which are these special glasses that you wear, and something to do with the fact, I don't know this for certain, but because the film was shot in black and white, but the ghosts, they had a special filter over them and they were in like a red thing. So of course in the 60s this is crazy, and so so you'd watch it and the ghosts would be all out in front of you doing all ghostly things. And so the film, the effects are quite out there. It's very weird, but how
do you watch it if you don't have the glasses?
I think if you go on eBay you can still find like special funky, people make them. I think they're probably,
so you have to get the glasses to watch it.
Well, you can still see it. Because they've just coloured the ghosts in a colour.
Oh, I see.
But you could still just watch it in black and white, as I've seen it in black and white. But it's a really funky little film. The ghosts are ridiculous.
What's it called again?
It's called 13 Ghosts, so 13 like the number.
And when was it made?
1960. Got Charles Herbert, Joe Morrow, Rosemary DeCamp, Martin Miller and Donald Woods in it.
I don't know any of those people.
Nor me.
Well, funnily enough, they've just turned up at my door.
This is your life.
And there's 13 of them.
Some are clones.
That was my Scooby-Doo sort of ghost noise. The ghosts in Scooby-Doo always go... I haven't been watching Scooby-Doo this week. Anyway, that's what we've been watching this week. It's a pretty poor show, really. Been a bit busy.
Yeah, well, it's Christmas,
Dudley
isn't
Simpson
it?
style music's taking up all my time.
So good.
That's it.
So good. Oh, look at this, Nick, really quickly. You'll look. Can I send it to you? I'll send it to you in a message. Hold on. Look at this.
What are you sending me?
Messages. It's an animated. I'm going to say GIF because there's been a horrible trend of people saying GIF lately,
I was having a huge discussion about this with the PR team of Doctor Who, of all people.
For God's sake, it's GIF, isn't it?
It used to be GIF. It's now GIF.
I'm happy with GIF actually.
Yeah,
because that's just what I've always called it. Where's the window? Load, you fool! Load!
I'm just telling Jamie Anderson that I won't be phoning him until a little bit later. He was expecting us round about now, but
well,
he can hang in there. He's editing his podcast today.
Is he really?
The one you did the theme for. What's it called?
Oh, the Christmas Control theme that I did.
Oh, you did a Christmas Control theme?
I placed an element with "This is Christmas Control. This is Christmas Control." So I'll send it to you over Skype because I can't, the messenger window. But there's a link to a picture of the ghosts floating around as an animated GIF of them, and it's great because it's just an old skeleton.
Oh yeah,
like hanging. But it's really fun.
It's really quite scary.
It's quite fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Now how do I get rid of that? Oh yeah, like that. Should we go on to the Facebook comments about Box of Delights?
I think we should, yeah.
Would you like to read out a few?
Certainly, yes. So the first one here comes from Richard Tingley, who says, I hold this series very close to my heart. I watch it every year and still get the same feelings of excitement I got when I watched it originally in the 80s. The animation effects still work and are charming. Patrick Troughton is wonderful as Cole Hawlings, and I'm afraid my nostalgia for this series completely negates any negativity towards it. I hope you enjoy it, and remember, the wolves are running.
Oh,
lush stuff.
Alex Pass says, much watched Must watch this. Have heard so many good things, but never actually seen it. Buck up. Quite right. Michael Gibbons, just completely randomly, says, personally, I have Canine and Company on repeat play.
Why not?
Lance Harrington says, watched this with my mum in 84, as she was a huge fan of the original book, and remembers listening to the audio play on the wireless when she was young. Apparently the same theme music was used for both audio and TV versions. Obviously the radio play wasn't done by the Radiophonic Workshop. Oh, the effects are dated, but it's still a lovely programme to watch at Christmas. Mika Finfrock says Dalek Epic.
Why not? Why not?
Says that every time I post anything.
Well, Jenny Shirt here says, I loved it. I wrote an article on it a few years ago. So pleased that you're doing a podcast on it. I love the scene with Cole and the donkey walking into the painting. Here are my memories I have on it. And the URL for that one. Can I get the whole of the... Oh, crikey, it's vanished. Hold on. Oh, no goodness. I'm just going to delete that. There we go. Now I can see it. The URL... Oh no, it's gone. Well, it's on Cultbox anyway. I can see part of it, but not all of it. But it's just taking up loads of time. But it's on Cultbox, so you can check out Jenny Shirt's entry there. Oh no, I just saw it there. Here we go. wearecult.rocks/the-magic- of the box of delights 1984. There we are.
So I'm quite bored of hearing that now.
I know, there's a lot of dashes, aren't there? David Bryder here says, remember it? I'm still in the middle of the annual rewatch. Marvellous magical little programme. 3 hearts.
Oh, that's nice. Mark Crozer says, I was 13 going on 14 when this came out, and by rights probably a little old for it, but I was transfixed from the start. Might have to rewatch it this year now. That's good.
And who can blame him? Well, we've got Paul Davison here says, well, if that isn't the Purple Pim. Interesting. Maria C. Antonio says, I really love this. It really doesn't bother me that the special effects are dated. Anything else in the production more than compensates for that. When I think of programmes I really love, like this and Doctor Who, my favourite programme, I think I might be a 52-year-old child. Lol. Paul Stevens here says, bring back What's on My Shelf quiz. People are demanding it. Well, that's from the Big Finish podcast, but a valid point.
Oh. Bizarrely, I've just been sent an email which from Karen Parks in the Big Finish production office, which says, Merry Christmas from Philip T. Hedgehog.
Why not?
I don't know what that means. She sent me some sort of video which I can't open. Anyway. Oh, I've pressed it and now something's happening.
It's the famous male stripper, Philip T. Hedgehog.
Bit of a prickly character.
That's a very tame answer, actually, for what you could have said.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, there's a little selection of the Facebook comments. The main reason I haven't read them all out is because my Word document has gone crazy, and all the bits of Facebook I put on there have all come up clumped together. Oh, Duncan Wilson, do we mention him? He says, just rewatched with Polly. I loved it. Here are my thoughts. Intro. It is like the creepy intros to Near and Far and The Picture Box merged together in one gloriously terrifying montage. Music. Caves of Androzani is what my brain told me.
Roger Lim.
So there you go. He has that very sort of off... what's the word? Sort of slightly flat synthesizer sound that sort of goes off the note a bit.
It's the wonderful those strings in there, which are wonderfully. I call them like shadow strings. They sort of sound a little. They're very floaty and slightly out there.
But you know what I mean? It's slightly flat. It goes.
Yeah, that's just how I think of like Revelation of the Daleks. It's just all.
Yeah.
It's always just like when Dr. Jovial gets stabbed.
Yes.
With a pair of scissors. It goes like that.
Right. On to our emails. Do you want to read the first one?
Certainly can. It's from Tom Hodden, regular podcasterian. I don't know what it is, but I like it. It sounds very Victorian, doesn't it? It says here, Podcasterian. Gents, last week's letter about War of the Worlds left me wondering, why have no other classic novels been immortalised as synth rock albums? For whomever said if forgetting Rick Wakeman's Journey to the Centre of the Earth, I love Rick Wakeman. He also did King Arthur as well, which is really good, and the 12 wives of Henry VIII, the 8 wives or the 9, however many wives he has, 6 or something. It was never my thing, so I did indeed make a good effort to forget it. I think
he's made that up as a joke. I don't think Rick Wakeman did Journey to the Centre.
Did he? Yes, he did. I'm 90% sure of it.
Wow.
Rick Wakeman, Journey to the Centre of the Earth. I'm sure he did. Yes, he did. 1974.
We should do a synth rock album of the Time Machine, shouldn't we?
God, that would be good, wouldn't it? That would be really cool.
Do what Jeff Wayne did and trademark the title so no one else can ever do it.
And then tour it for about 50 years, selling out everywhere. He's just been to the Brighton Centre.
Was it selling out?
Oh, well, it always does well. I think I'm sure he announced that he would never tour again, and then lo and behold, it's back at the Brighton Centre.
Yeah, I just had a thing sent to me on email to say it was on in London in May, and Steph was asking me whether we should book to see it.
I've never seen it. I thought, should I get that out of my system? But then I don't know.
I've heard very bad reports about the show, that it's a bit sort of dreary.
Well, it's one of those ones, isn't it? I've heard the album so many times. It's like it's burnt into my brain that now that all I hear is just So
steady. We don't want to get sued.
No, we don't want to get sued. Carrying on here. But which book should be furnished for your with your talents?
Oh, no. Did you read out? I think this is a corner of the market ripe for your good selves to conquer.
No. Oh goodness. Well, you've read that out there. There we go. But which book should be furnished with your talents? The Box of Delights could, of course, offer Benji a chance of a Christmas hit and lucrative royalties once his opening track from Disc 2, What the Sod is Going On? So true. Is cycled into yearly playlists for supermarkets from mid-November, whereas Hound of the Baskervilles, featuring Nick's powerful ballad Watson Doesn't Notice Me Watching Him, Why Won't a Good Man See Me, has more year-round appeal. Or perhaps you could go highbrow and with something like a Victor Hugo. That one about the miserable bloke called Les could have potential. Or did somebody else already do that? What do you think? A musical spectacular for the 100th episode? Yours, as always, T.E. Hodden. Oh, now there's an idea.
We've got to do it, haven't we?
I think we have to. We could designate tracks to each other and... oh God!
There's no chance of me ever being able to write a song when there's quite a big chance of you being able to. So
I've been on a roll actually this week. I've written 2 songs actually, 2 little sort of not. I did one song mocking the 80s, which involved me singing a bit like that, and doing a really good chorus with a hilarious harmony, and I copied a Russian song last night because I wanted to learn the keyboard parts. Such a geek.
That's good. You also did a fantastic cover of a Gary Newman thing.
Oh my goodness! Yes, I forgot about that. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good.
I do love a bit of Gaza.
Could we hear a bit of your 80s thing? Could we put that in the podcast?
Yeah, you can put the 80s thing in there, certainly, yeah. You can have that.
I've seen you hoping you need to be freed. I need a love now, it's all that you need. You are my lifeline, my intake of breath. Sit in the darkness, I'll never forget. We're in a city where our hearts beat faster. I got you, baby, forever and after. We're in a city where our hearts beat stronger. Who needs tomorrow? We've always got longer.
Bit of that.
Features the Yamaha DX7, Rhodes piano sound. Sorry.
That's all right. That was interesting. I just didn't comment. I should have gone, that's interesting.
I love it. I just go on about it. It's hilarious.
Well, London's Burning, another one of your obsessions, is the title of the next email, sent from a chap called Greg, on the 16th of the month at 8 minutes past 8 in the evening. Hi, Nick and Benji. Thoroughly enjoyed the London's Burning podcast. Loved this programme. It was the highlight of my Sunday nights. It had quite a prolific effect on me. So much so, I joined the fire service many moons ago. Well, I was never going to be cast as the Doctor, laughy emoji. So this was the next best thing. The characterisation in it is perfect. Think there are examples of most of the lead characters at the stations I've worked at.
Wow.
Though I must admit, I'd love to have had Sydney Tate as my gaffer. The shouts they attend are very well done and give a little insight into the difficulties of our job. Though in a real working job, visibility is next to nothing.
Goodness, wow, that's
of course,
terrifying.
you can't do that on television, can you? Because there wouldn't be a scene. That is brilliant, Greg. Thanks ever so much for writing it. Loving the choice of programmes you've reviewed. Top work. Cheers, Greg, and hope all's going well at the station this festive season.
Certainly, and also, I think as well, you're not the only one that I've seen. I've seen that the show did inspire a huge recruitment drive for the fire brigade, and especially the London Fire Brigade. It really did actually. It helped them an awful lot. But yeah, well, that's quite shocking to know just how close to reality it is, but also how not close it is. Very interesting. We'll keep it up, good sir. We got a message here from Richard Black, sent 12/19, the 20th, the 12th, 10/18. Dear Nick and Benji, or Benji and Nick as it says here, thanks for reading out my email a couple of weeks ago. Brackets, it was the one that was mostly about public eye. I doubt you'd have any reason to want to read this one out, but it's just worth adding that this is a more personal note, so not really meant for the podcast. And that was it. I don't think I've written to a podcast more than once or twice before, so hearing my name unexpectedly coming out of the speakers in the car was a very surreal experience, but a new and positive experience for somebody like me with a shaky grip on self-esteem. I felt good for the rest of the day. So I just wanted to thank you again for everything you do and wish you both a happy Christmas and best wishes for 2019. All the best, Richard Black. Well, Richard, you got a second shout out here, dude. We think you're great and have an absolutely amazing Christmas as well. But just make sure that the shaky grip is not on the steering wheel when you're driving, because, especially if there's thin ice out there, because that would be terrible. So keep an eye on the roads, good sir.
And I hope, Richard, that you don't mind us reading that out, even though you said it was a personal thing, because it's nice. I know I have a very personal. I have a very shaky grip on my self-esteem. That's for darn sure. That's why I do so much talking rubbish and very loudly. But yeah, well, it's a pleasure. It's quite nice to read out people's emails and surprise them. There's a last quickie one here. As heard on the Benji and Nick show, it's called from Alex Pass, our old friend Big Al. I had a phone call from a gentleman at BT, in inverted commas, today, saying they were going to cut off my home internet. Strange how when I said, as heard on the Benji and Nick show in Nick's news announcer voice, we suddenly got disconnected. Must be a problem with their chelling bone.
Hey boy,
Merry Christmas to all
boy.
from Big Al. Bless you. We did have just randomly, really no fakery here, while we were recording the podcast last week, I got a scam call.
It's amazing.
Incredible that happened, isn't it? Anyway, we thoroughly mocked them.
Quality listening, actually. Quality listening.
We're running out of time, so we must get on.
Let's do it.
Let's Jamie Anderson, let's see what he's got to say. Connecting.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. How's
Morning,
your podcast
14.
editing going?
I'm over the hump.
Good. Well, that's very X-rated for you to feature that sort of thing in your podcast. Oh!
Doing.
Boom, boom. How's your podcast recording going? Is it jam-packed full of dad jokes?
No, just this conversation.
Oh, good.
Benji, do you have a question that I can relay to Jamie?
Yeah, hold on. Random question generator.
That was a random one.
Let's have a look.
This is fascinating in itself.
Click for a question. What incredibly strong opinion do you have that is completely unimportant in the grand scheme of things?
Oh, I probably have quite a few, but being asked to think of one on the spot is very difficult.
Yeah.
When you're... This is ridiculous. sure I want this to be released into the world.
Too late.
When loading a dishwasher, and when you don't have one of those cutlery drawers, but instead you have one of those cutlery holders in the bottom section, like should be stacked with like. I see too many people mixing them up. But it's worth it. If you put all the forks together, all the knives together, when you put them in the cutlery drawer after it, you can just do it in one move.
Wow, true.
And it really annoys me when I see people mixing and matching.
Does he stack them top up or top down? That's the big question.
Sharp bits up.
Good man.
Handles down, because I want maximum exposure to the saliva-covered surface.
Well, I think that's a phrase we often use. I can see your rim light behind you, which sounds a bit ring. Sorry.
Oh no!
Is there a mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah, ring light.
Yeah,
yes.
I meant to say ring light. I'm now blushing.
Thank goodness it's a podcast, eh?
And yes, because you bought that recently to do your video podcasting type stuff, didn't you?
It's like a halo, isn't it, if I get here?
It is. You look very holy. By the way, listen, it's Christmas. It's Christmas! What are you doing Christmas that you can divulge?
Nothing. I'm resting, which is very unusual, and then I'm taking Mother to a hotel for Christmas Day lunch, so nobody has to cook or do washing up or get in an argument over loading the dishwasher.
Good. I'm going to have my Christmas dinner lunch soon. Literally, Steph will be knocking the door in about 5 minutes. So I'll probably have to stop recording the podcast now and reconvene later.
That'll be awkward.
Yeah. Anyway.
What's Benji doing for Christmas?
What are you doing, Benji?
Oh, nothing really. Just a Marks and Spencer sandwich. Just probably watch the telly. Huddle around a fire.
Top drawer. Excellent.
Is that really what you're
No,
doing?
no.
Benji?
Did you? No, I'm having a lovely Christmas dinner. Going to my auntie's in the day for the Christmas lunch. Over here for the Christmas dinner. Lots of family, lots of drink. I've already got, I think, 15 kegs of beer out in the outhouse.
15. Wow.
Yep.
That's
But they're only like 4
something. I thought
pints
you were
each,
gonna say,
though.
No, I'm not having a Marks and Spencer sandwich. I'm having a Sainsbury's sandwich.
They're like 3.5 pints each keg, though. So it's nothing.
Oh, they sound like quite small kegs.
Yeah, it's for this little machine I've got.
I imagine the big ones from the pub.
No, I don't run. I'd love to run a pub, but I don't. These are for a little home keg kit called the Sub.
Right. I will go and look it up immediately.
It's quite good, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, well, thanks, Jamie. Have a lovely Christmas. What?
And, sorry, on Christmas Eve,
Yes.
I'm going to the burger place in Brecon where they do Christmas chips.
Oh.
And the Christmas chips are chips covered in shredded turkey, a layer of melted cheese and gravy topped with pigs in blankets. So there you go.
Wow.
And you have a burger with that.
I'm jealous. I need this in my life.
Love it.
Hills of Brecon, if you wanted to know. Hills of Brecon, best burgers around.
Wow. Well, I look forward to an in-depth report on that. Jamie, what a pleasure. What a great year it's been.
Yeah, thanks for having me repeatedly. I really appreciate it. Your listeners might not.
Yeah,
But
yes.
Thanks anyway.
All right, mate. Well, I dare say I'll speak to you very soon. Take care.
Yes, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all the listeners of the Benji and Nick show.
Oh,
he's
Merry
good, isn't he?
Christmas.
Cheerio.
Ciao.
Hurrah!
So,
Here it is.
I'm back from a huge Christmas lunch.
What did you have? That's the big question.
Well, mate, I had the works. I had a soup. It was pre-ordered, you see, so we just went into this restaurant and it was all, so soup, the whole turkey thing, which was amazing. The gravy, I just wanted to pick up the gravy boat and drink it. It was so naughty, the gravy. Fantastic roast potatoes and sprouts. I know, I love sprouts, you see. People
I like
hate
a sprout.
sprouts.
I like a
Yeah,
sprout.
people get so cross about them and say, what's the point of them? They should be banned. And I love them. So it was gorgeous, and then Christmas pudding, and then mince pies.
Oh,
and
gosh.
and I had trouble walking after that.
To roll you home.
I couldn't open my rib cage far enough to accommodate the expanded size of my stomach.
That's Christmas, though, isn't it? That's basically how the second half of Christmas Day feels, isn't it?
Well, I won't be doing all that, so that was my Christmas Day meal.
And it sounds to me like it was well worth it.
Oh, yeah. Our mother-in-law will be cooking us a curry.
Oh.
My mother-in-law, my wife's mother.
We've done curry on Christmas before. It's great. Nothing wrong with a Christmas curry.
Well, apparently she's been practicing the recipe, so it should at least be safe.
I always find that you have curry on Christmas Day, and then you end up just having turkey curry for what feels like a week afterwards. Just turkey sandwiches, turkey curry.
I like a bit of turkey. Just not so much of it. Right, come on, box of delights.
Well, what a delight!
Was it your idea, or was it?
I think I mentioned it ages ago, and then people have written in. And the thing is, it's such a Christmas tradition. It's a cult Christmas tradition, so to speak. In that, in the corners of the internet, people are watching it and enjoying it. And this year, it's sort of got its own little revival because it's had a re-release. The soundtrack has been specially cleaned up and released as well. And so, yeah, it's kind of out there, and deservedly so, because I will say straight off at the start of this sort of discussion, I think it's brilliant. It's a lovely piece of work.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
the end of the podcast.
That's it. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
No, I mean, I think we would have been lynched had we said we thought it was a load of old rubbish, but no, we do. I really liked it. You see, I remember it being on at the time, but I don't think I watched it. I thought I did, but watching the first episode again, I didn't remember a single frame of it. The interesting thing for me is this 1984, where there was a tendency, everyone thought that going on location with video cameras was the best thing since sliced bread, and they still couldn't quite afford to do, there was no high def, and they couldn't afford to do film cameras on location for fairly low cost productions like this. So, doing it on video was a sort of cheaper option. And what they've done here shows that it can pay off.
Definitely.
I mean, it does look like video, but they've lit it well. There's loads of location work, lots of night shoots, and also it helps them blend with the fairly advanced video effects they're using. They're using bits of animation and mapping them on, and you can kind of see the joins and stuff, but it's done with such panache and such good timing that technically it works really well. Also, artistically it works really well because it's a lovely story, and I will watch the rest of it. And beautifully acted, not least by Patrick Troughton and Robert Stevens.
We'll definitely get
Patrick
onto that
Troughton, I think it's I think it's the best thing I've ever seen him do, and I'm a huge fan of his Doctor. He's my favourite Doctor, really, in Doctor Who. But I think it's a beautiful performance, and that fuzzy hair, goodness me, where did you get that from?
Well, I think with Patrick Troughton, what an inspired casting choice there to get him involved. And boy, if you want to choose an actor who can 100% deliver the goods and get that role right, it's Patrick Troughton, because you so believe
Not Patrick Troughton.
Patrick Troughton. Because you believe him, don't you? He's wonderfully believable. He's mystical and magical. He's so, you when he says how old he is in there, I haven't done that since pagan times or whatever. Yes, You sort of believe him because he has that wonderful sort of timeless quality about him. I think the word that I would use with this is magical. It has that Christmas magic in it. The whole story, the way it's performed and executed is impeccable, I think.
The music is a bit of an odd one because we Doctor Who fans can hear that it's Roger Limb, and he has his particular weird string sounds he uses. But then also, are those real instruments or samples of real instruments?
They're real instruments. Yeah. I'm fairly, because I actually, before I watched this, the day the soundtrack came out, I was straight on it because I love hearing basically anything that Silver Screen releases for me is just of interest. So when I listened to it, and I thought, no, it's a mixture of the synthy stuff that he's doing, but also things like the brass, like the trumpets and stuff. I'd be fairly surprised if they weren't real, because they sound gorgeous.
They're either real or bloomin' good samples for the time, aren't they? I don't think samples would have been that good back then.
Not really, no. Especially, in this time it would have been, you got your Fairlights, really. That's the samples were nowhere near that. So this really would have been. It would have been a mixture, but it looks as though what they've done with this, I think, is that they've said this is a Christmas production. We're going to throw some money at this, because it feels like they've actually, they've invested in special effects. They've got music which is quite out there, and a mixture of real and synthy stuff. So
I think the synthy stuff is because they couldn't afford a string section. So
probably, but you've got somebody like Roger Lim, who's incredibly talented at what he does, and I actually think he gets it. Like it does work, and it's of its time, obviously. But
very much of its time, but actually works really well, because for me, things from the 80s, viewed from this perspective, often don't fare very well. But this is the first thing in ages I've seen that was an 80s thing that I've fully embraced. The first thing I've seen for ages that I've fully embraced, really.
Because I think it is. It feels of a quality, doesn't it? That's what I like about it. I mean, I love all those railway scenes at the start. I just thought that was so brilliant. Those, on the horrible blokes on the train as well, the wolves.
Yes.
Really,
the fake vicars.
Really, really unsettling, isn't it? I tell you what,
go on, sorry.
I was going to say, one of the gripes I did have, though, is the mother just being absolutely okay to just let her son do what the hell he wants. They've just travelled from the station to their house, and then the kid's like, oh, I want to go back into town. I want to go back and see the old man. It's like we've just driven home. It's dark and cold and it's snowing, and you just want to go out again. I've been like, wish you'd told us.
He goes off to see the old man after she goes to the station, I think it's right to say. But he's got a driver with him. Also, you see, people were much more trusting of children. People let their kids do things. We're very... we cosset our children now and don't let them go out and don't let them do things on their own. We don't let them play in the street anymore. Whereas in those days, they'd let children go off camping on their own.
Crazy, but it's sign of the times, isn't it? Different times.
Yeah. So I think also they're very well-to-do family, and so they had an innate belief in their own superiority. I thought the mother was very good. That's the thing that you keep seeing it being this level of... It sounds so patronising. BBC videotaped drama. I keep expecting some really rotten performance to crop up.
Absolutely.
I think, these kids are going to be rubbish now, and they're not. Everyone's pretty darn good. And the lead boy, what's the name of the actor who plays the lead boy?
The actor who plays the lead boy is, let's have a look.
I can't even remember the name of the character off the top of my head.
So let me get up Box of Delights, because I normally have it all so that we can run with it. Is it Devin Stanfield?
I don't know. You tell me. You're looking at the information.
So the character's Kay Harker, who's played by Devin Stanfield. Yeah.
Well, what happened to him then?
I think it is anyway. Well, not a lot. He doesn't look like he's got a page, a Wikipedia thing. I mean, I'll have a look on the IMDb.
And you're sure that's the main character's name?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because Kay reminds me of I just love how this is just Benji's Arthurian thing, but Kay is an Arthurian name, so it stood out to me. He was in Chucky as well.
Is he?
And
He's not the main boy.
I don't. He was Colin in Chucky, so I think he wasn't he? Wasn't Colin the main boy in Chucky?
It's not that boy.
And maybe Matthew, was it? I can't remember his name. Matthew is Chucky. I don't know, but he was played a character called Colin in Chucky. He's only done two things. He was Colin in all 6 episodes of Chucky, and then he did Box of Delights as Kay Harker.
It's a really good little actor, isn't he?
The only thing is that he works. The last job he did in telly was he worked in the art department as a prop hand on Boogie Woogie in 2009, and he was born in Eastbourne in 71, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
So would
that's
have been
where you
born.
live.
Yeah, I was born in Eastbourne as well, so probably born in the same hospital. So magic there.
That's funny. Why didn't he have a bigger career as an actor?
I don't know. It's funny how that it goes that way sometimes, isn't it? And
Maybe he didn't like it.
maybe he was very good at it. That's the thing. But yeah,
I mean, we actors are weirdos.
right bunch of old rotters, aren't you? But yeah,
What else? Robert Stevens, brilliant. He's a fantastic actor. He was a brilliant Sherlock Holmes in The Private Lives of Sherlock Holmes, the movie.
Wonderful face.
That got me into Sherlock Holmes, and I found out later that it was the thing that got Stephen Moffat into Sherlock Holmes as well. But
Wow.
we are more or less the same age, Stephen and myself.
Private Life of Sherlock Holmes, that was about 1970, 71, wasn't it?
It was either 69 or 70.
Okay, yeah, around that, yeah.
And we would have seen it when it was shown on television a little later than that, I believe. Robert Stevens, classic actor. He's Toby Stevens' dad, isn't he?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe so, yes, I'll double check
you can
that.
can see it in his face.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
it's some great...
Brilliant talent running in the family there.
It's a great cast, though, actually. It looks like they've actually really kind of thought about who they want to get involved there. Like, you've got Patricia Quinn in it as Sylvia. John Horsley. That's a name I've not heard in a long time.
What does he do?
He plays a vicar in it. He plays the Bishop of Tatchester.
He's not the one in the first episode, is he? Is he the guy from the Fall and Rise of Reginald
I think
Perrin?
so. Yeah, that's the bloke from the Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin, yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
He was in that first
Brilliant.
episode, yeah. I didn't recognise him, actually, when he was in it.
Oh, I
but-
did. Yes, he plays the doc in Reginald Perrin, who you describe your symptoms to, and he goes, "Yes, I got exactly the same thing," and never has any idea of how to cure it.
I don't think he was
He
in
starts
Island Rescue,
suggesting
wasn't he, as
symptoms,
well?
and people keep going, "Oh yes, I've got that. Yes, so have I."
Do you want to know a controversial thing, actually? Talking of Reginald Perrin, I liked the reboot they did a few years ago.
You've mentioned that before.
I thought it was quite good. I didn't think it was as bad as people, apart from that awful counsellor character who was utterly patronising and dreadful. But
Well, I would say that you are an idiot for liking it.
well, I am.
I think I watched about 2 episodes of it, and I was done with it, really.
I don't know. I think I like Martin Clunes, so maybe he was enough.
He's a very good actor. I like Martin Clunes.
Got a lot of time for him.
And here's a controversial thing, that looking back at the original Reginald Perrin, it's nowhere near as good as people remember it being. I remember loving it at the time. I audio recorded it. I was quite obsessed with it. I read the book, which is far more adult and far more dark, far darker. But the TV series is actually a pale imitation of the book. Now, I don't know whether the book came first or what, but whichever way it went, the book is better. And then when the TV series, when they kept coming back for another series, I think it really diluted it and it just became annoying, is my controversial view. Also, Leonard Rossiter, although, in many ways a brilliant actor, he did play up to the audience a bit, because it was filmed in front of a live TV audience, and it was, I don't know.
Happened a lot, though, didn't it? I think people got sucked into that, really. But yeah, you don't see Reginald Perrin really on the telly. They don't rerun it. I'd be surprised. I was thinking about it. I'm surprised that they don't, but maybe there's a reason for that.
I think it needs to be remade as a comedy drama with no audience. I think it was
Great
a mistake
idea.
to remake it as a sitcom, because the book doesn't read like a sitcom. The book reads like a really weird, slightly surreal, twisted, tragicomedy.
Well, it's quite tragic, isn't it? As well,
it is, and I think it would benefit from that.
It could work
Personally.
wonderfully, I think. Yeah,
Anyway, back to Box of Delights.
well, I'm just reading on the trivia here.
5
Interesting
exclamation marks, I'm just saying.
Patrick, absolute 5 out of 5. Patrick Troughton was cast as Cole Hawlings because he was the director Rennie Rye's favourite Doctor Who, and he felt that he brought a magical quality to the role. So very much that link in there. Of course, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, it's very, very good.
Well, quite.
Very good.
That's what. It's the most
That's the wrong
expensive
Doctor.
production for British television at the time, with an estimated budget of £1 million. The
Good
special
Lord.
effects were innovative for that time period and were considered to be groundbreaking, namely the use of the matte drawings, blending human and animated characters together, and extensive use of blue screen and digital effects.
There was a very good bit where Patrick Troughton, can't believe I'm dissing my favourite Doctor by pronouncing his name incorrectly, when he gets on the ass and goes back into the...
Brilliant! Yes, absolutely.
The way when he goes back into the animation on the painting, it's an almost seamless moment. You know, it's quite... It sort of didn't take my breath away, but I thought, my goodness, how did they do that back then? They must have worked very hard. Been very detailed, very intricate.
Well, I think that's what I take for this. You know, we give it like a 5 out of 5, but what I will take for this is that it's sort of a well-crafted piece, and clearly the people working on it, obviously, I think really cared about what they were doing, and it shows in everything, even the locations that they've chosen.
Yes, I mean, there's their real snow as well as fake snow, because if that's fake snow, it's darn good.
I'd imagine it's fake snow, but
there's some really good, and when they walk across it and it really makes the right crunchy noise and seems to behave in the right way, that's remarkable stuff.
Maybe
there's
they
some
were
rubbish
very lucky.
Fake snow in the bit where the wolves are attacking that village, and that looks like foam.
Yeah,
but they do cut away from it very quickly, so you only get a glimpse of the bad stuff.
Well, I suppose you can only do so much, can't you? But perhaps they realise that, because it feels like they're very aware of. You know, for the time as well, it doesn't feel like a showing off thing.
Because fake snow is, even today, I mean, I watched Asylum of the Daleks the other night and really enjoyed it. And there was a bit where they're filming in real snowy mountains in Spain, and then there's a close-up of a sort of futuristic space-age tool that is dropped on the snow, and they do a close-up of it, which has blatantly been done in a studio later, and the snow looks like little bits of polystyrene. And I know that they have great fake snow at the BBC at Cardiff, and yet I just thought, no, that's not real.
How weird. Perhaps it was just a time thing. Perhaps, who knows? Who knows? But I think, you know, this, especially like the special effects in this, they're brilliant. But it doesn't have that level of showing off like something like controversial for me to say, but like the Tomorrow People, I always felt like they were showing off of what they could do, and it was just really executed terribly.
Yeah, what they could do was no good, though.
Well, precisely.
What they're showing off here is quite an advance in technology, isn't it? Yeah.
Similar to, I mean, another labour of love, I love the tripods, and I always felt that they did a good job with that, with the CSO stuff in there. It didn't look...
It was beautifully done. It was just the dullest thing ever put on television.
I love it. No, I think it's slow paced, but if you like slow pace, I love a slow pace.
Terrible acting. It's awful.
See, the problem is, the reason I've not brought up the tripods for us to do is because A, I know that you don't like it, but B, if we're examining the first episode, it's just such a bad example of a show that I love so much, so you can't talk about an awful lot other than...
And as I've said before, some of my hatred for it is based on the fact that it occupied the Doctor Who slot, and I thought, why is there no Doctor Who on?
Well, I'd say its first series was superb. Second series wasn't that good, and that didn't deserve to occupy the Doctor Who slot. But apparently, I have it on very good authority from someone who was in it, that Doctor Who was filming at the same time, and so in the middle of Doctor Who recording and the tripods recording, members of the cast and crew would hang out and often spend time with each other between.
Good Lord.
Just so there we go. But anyway,
that doesn't make it up to me, though.
No, of course not. But anyway, it's not the Tripods chat. It's Box of Delights, and so
we've given it a thorough thumbs up, and I hope that those of you who want to do a special rewatch at Christmas do so, and those of you who weren't considering doing so do so too.
I think so. You know, it's a very special release, and one of those ones where it absolutely warrants being watched, rewatched.
Definitely. Indubitably.
Indubitably. Yes. Well,
so, the thing is, the next podcast is actually on the 30th of December, but we won't really be here discussing something for the 30th of December podcast, which is next Sunday. we are going to give you a special drama audiobook treat, and it's going to be a pilot episode of something I made that I wrote called Alien England.
Oh.
So have a listen to that next week on me, and see whether we should do any more episodes, maybe, because I've just done one episode. So what are we going to do on the 6th of January 2019, Benji?
Well, I've been thinking, and I think I mentioned to you recently about that funky theme tune for you got it. It's New Scotland Yard. 1972 it started, rocked on until 1974, with John Woodvine as Detective Chief, Superintendent Kingdom, and John Carlyle as Detective Sergeant Ward. That could be a lot of fun. 70s cop show.
Yeah, George Mark Steinstein writing it, was he, or script?
No, that was the other thing, wasn't it? That was that
was Special Branch.
Special Branch, yeah.
Oh, the other thing.
No, this is who's created by Jack Williams, executive producer Rex Firkin, made for ITV, for London Weekend Television. Oh, so good.
Well, we're going to do that.
Yeah, I think it's a winner. And the first episode's written by Don Houghton. Is that it?
Oh wow, yeah. Who wrote Inferno?
Indeed, he do. So,
and The Mind of Evil. Did he write The Mind of Evil?
I'm pretty sure he did. I'll double check it. But I'm pretty
These
sure
are Doctor Who stories for those of you who aren't Doctor Who fans. Although I can't believe anyone listening isn't.
Yes, he was Mind of Evil. Yeah, absolutely. Good shout with that one.
No, I know me early 70s Doctor Who, mate.
Yes, well, quite.
Liv, switch off.
Oh my god, I need to watch that now. My gosh. But yeah, no, I think that sounds good. So New Scotland Yard it is. Yeah.
Okay, and tune in, as it were, for Alien England next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Pressing stop now. Ka-chunk.